Hello, this is Yasmin Brooks and welcome to our YouTube series on Microsoft Project. In this series of videos, I'm going to guide you how you can get started with project, how you can get tasks done, how you can link tasks, create relationships, track the cost of your projects, and much more. But before we get to this point, I just want you to be a little bit familiar with all the tools Microsoft has available as of today for you to enhance your project management skills. So before we get started, there are 4 instances of projects that we can use today. We have Project Desktop, which is the classic version. And usually when you hear about Microsoft Project, that's the number 1 tool that people want to learn and get more familiar with. Project Desktop is a desktop application, so it's a standalone application in your computer, just like Excel. If you want to collaborate with others, you are going to need to move that project from your computer, from your local instance, to a online or cloud application, which is going to be Project Web App or Project Online. Sometimes they are referred to by either name. And this is going to be the old way of doing projects. Project Desktop, it's been around for a very long time, is a tool that is almost as old as Microsoft Word. So it's been around for many, many years. And now Microsoft is trying to transition because the first impression you have once you open Microsoft Project Desktop is that it's not the most user-friendly tool that you're gonna cross your way. So Microsoft created this other tool called Project for the Web. And that's where the confusion starts because Project for the Web is not the same as Project Web App or Project Online. The names are going to be a little bit of an overlap. But the reason for that is because Project Web App / Project Online is going to be discontinued and Microsoft is moving everything to Project for the Web. So I'm going to guide you through everything that you need to know. And what we're not going to cover in this video is the last option that you have available, which is going to be Project Power App. This is going to be talked about later in future videos when we get a little bit more advanced on project. Okay, so for now, we're going to focus on Project Desktop, Project Web App, and Project for the Web. Let's see what the difference is and which tool is going to be the best for you. So come with me and let's check it out. We are going to start by looking into Project Desktop. In my opinion, Project Desktop looks a lot like Excel. It's the same feeling, it's the same colors, kind of, and it behaves very much like so as well. You're going to have to download an application in your computer for you to be able to get started with the tool, and it's going to have some tricks for you to be able to share what you have done in the application. The next thing that I find familiar or similar to Excel is that at least my experience when I saw Excel for the very first time, I was a little bit intimidated, a little bit scared of it. And today we all know that we can't live without Excel. I get the same feeling from Project Desktop. It's a great tool. And with this final product that I have here open now, which is going to be a single story construction project plan, you are going to see what you can get accomplished with the tool. So here I have my list of tasks. You can see them all right there. And right next to them, I have my estimated duration. You can see the duration right here in this column. That's going to be the second column. And then if you keep scrolling down, you're going to see all the list, the complete project plan with all the different subtasks. And by its side, on the right side, you can also see a Gantt chart. I'm going to go ahead and slide this so we can take a look at it a little bit better. In red, you're going to see all the tasks in your critical path. And you can see who was assigned to work on each task. These are your resources. And in some of the resources, we also have a cost. In some of the tasks here inside of project, we also have some costs. This is going to depend on which type of resource you're using in your project. So if I keep scrolling down, you are going to be able to see your complete project plan. Okay, this is your plan. What else can you get done with Project Desktop? And that's what I think is really cool. So first, I'm going to change my views. Right now, I'm on the Gantt chart view, and you can see that from the left side of my page right there. I'm going to change my view, and I'm going to go to my resource sheet. Here in my resource sheet, I can have generic resources first. You can see that the generic resources, they have this little icon. And I don't know who is going to be working on this project yet. So I have assigned generic names. For example, project manager, architect, engineer. I assigned skills rather than the name of the person itself. And you can see I have some other types of costs. For example, right here, we have some costs that are not tracked by the hour. You can see that all my work resources right here, they are tracked by the hour. So I'm paying them an hourly rate. These are the employees of the company. Here in blue, I'm going to make this blue. These are my cost resources, and I don't track them by the hour. Rather, I will pay them a fixed cost. These are going to be my subcontractors. So they're going to tell me that for them to do a specific task, they're going to charge me this amount of money. Okay. And they're going to take as long as they want to complete those tasks. We also have, I'm going to make this orange now, some material costs right here. You can see I have windows and doors, steel, HVAC, electrical cables, sheeting, and so on. And then I have the cost of each material and the units. So for example, windows and doors, I'm going to pay per unit, how many windows I want. I'm going to pay for each unit. For example, let me see something else. For paint, I'm going to pay per gallon. So how many gallons of paint do I need to buy? And each gallon of paint is going to cost me $40. Okay. So this is what I have in my estimations here. And once I have these estimations and I assign those resources to my tasks, which I have done, and I'm going to go back to my Gantt chart here, you're going to see that here on my resource names, I have all the resources, including the materials assigned to each of the tasks, which allows me to track the cost of my project, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and now I'm not going to change views, but rather tables. I'm going to change my tables to my cost table. So here I can see that the estimated total cost for my project is $489. And right now we don't have any variance because we haven't started tracking the actual progress of the project, which we'll see once we start doing if our estimated cost is going to be our actual cost. So this is something that you can do here in Project Desktop. So we talked about resources, we talked about using generic resources, adding costs and materials as well, and tracking your costs. And you can also track the variance. So I have another table here called my variance table. And I can see the variance right now. We have not set a baseline, and that's why this is set as an A. But once we start the project and we set those baselines and we start to track our actuals, we're going to see which tasks got delayed, what took a little bit longer than what we estimated in the beginning, what cost more or less than what we have estimated in the beginning. Are we going on schedule? Are we on budget? Or do we have anything that we need to take action on? So that's going to be the beauty of Project Desktop. But as you can see, it's not going to be the most user-friendly tool. Whenever you finish your project in Project Desktop and you want to share that with others, or you want to keep this in an online location with other project managers might have access to, you might want to share resources from your company, then you are going to publish this project to Project Web App. Okay, Project Web App. So let's see how we are going to get that done. You're going to go to File, and then Save As, and you are going to see an option to save as Project Web App. This option is only going to be available if you have already made the connection, which is also something we're going to cover in later videos. But assuming you have made the connection, I'm going to go ahead and save this project on Project Web App. I'm going to give it a name. So it's going to be my single story home construction plan. That's how I'm going to name my project, and I'm going to go ahead and save this file. And this is one extra additional step that you're going to have here. Remember, this is not the most user-friendly tool, even though it's great. But just saving the project as Project Web App is not enough. You have to remember to publish your project first. Okay, otherwise you're not going to be able to see this when we move to the cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and finalize by publishing my project. I'm going to repeat those same steps. I'm going to go to File, and then instead of going on Save As, I'm going to go to Info. And then on Info, you will have the option to publish your project progress. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and publish this project. I have a settings here in my computer that asks me every time that I publish a project if I want to create a site for it or not. Let's save this for later. For now, I'm just going to say no. So now let's go ahead and move out of this environment and let's take a look in Project Web App. Remember that we're still talking about Project Web App / Project Online. We haven't gone to Project for the Web just yet, even though the names are very similar, okay? We're gonna start with what was here before and what Microsoft is planning for the future later, okay? So Project Web App for now. This is my project web app environment, and what I'm gonna do is refresh this page, and I should expect to see the project we just saved right here now. So once I refresh the page, now you can see that I have my single-story home construction pop up right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this file. And you can see this is now in your project web app environment. By having your project here on project web app, it's not necessarily for you to be able to access your project online, which you can, but here you have access to different features that are not available in project desktop. For example, I have here on the left side of my screen some additional buttons that we can go to. So I have my approval center. I can do risk management from here. I have my strategy area where if you are managing multiple projects, you can have a common strategy, a common goal for all the projects to achieve. Not necessarily a physical deliverable, but maybe increasing morale in your company or something that's more intangible. So this is what you can do in Project Web App. And we're not going to talk more about Project Web App for now. There's way more that you can get done here. You can create, you can use resources from the enterprise to apply to all your projects. You can customize fields and have those fields available to everyone using project. There's much more that you can do here. It's more for the administrator or for the project management office if you do have one in your company. So let's skip this topic for now. I want you to pay attention. There is a button right here on the bottom that says try new project. So what Microsoft is doing is they're going to discontinue Project Web App, and Project Web App is going to transition to Project for the Web. And that's the new project that you can see here. So now we're going to move out of this environment again, and we're going to go to the third one. Remember, the fourth one we're not going to cover in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and move now to my project, the new project. Let's see what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and select try new project, and let's see where this is going to take me to. So I'm going to close this just because I don't want to start a new project. I already have stuff created here. But here is going to be Project for the Web. And you can access Project for the Web directly if you want to, simply by going, I'm going to open a new tab here in my computer, simply by going to project.microsoft.com. Okay, so let me just take this off here. If you simply type project.microsoft.com, this is going to take you to the exact same location where I was a minute ago. And this is where you're going to be able to start creating projects. So I'm going to show you what you can get done in Project for the Web now. Project for the Web is going to be an online version of Project Desktop. Okay, so this is where you would go to actually create your plan. You don't need to publish. When you use Project Web App, names are very confusing. But when you use Project Web App, you are going to need to get familiar with some additional steps. For example, checking in your project, checking out your project, and much more. There are a bunch of additional extra steps for you to use Project for the Web. Project Web App. So Project for the Web was designed to be a little bit more of a user-friendly tool. So here on Project for the Web, I'm going to open a project called One Story Home Plan, which is the same one as I had before. Notice that the single-story home construction plan that I have updated and published to my PWA or Project Web App or Project Online shows over here in this hub. But notice that you have a source area that's telling you where this project is coming from. If the project is available on Project for the Web, it's going to just show project, okay? If this project is coming from Project Web App, you're going to see this PWA project name right there. Okay, so that's how I'm going to be able to tell the difference between the two of them. And I'm going to go to my one-story home plan. So if I open the project, that's exactly the same one we had open on Project Desktop. So I'm going to take myself out of the screen and let's see what the differences between them are. So this is the exact same plan that we had before. You can see that here, when I published that project from Project Desktop to Project for the Web, the resources, they don't get carried over because Project for the Web does not have support for generic resources. And what I had over there, they were generic resources. I wasn't naming any resource from my company. So this is going to be one of the things. You cannot use generic resources. However, for you to assign resources, it's much simpler. You don't need to change views. You don't need to go to the resource sheet. You don't need to do anything like that. If they are part of your organization, all you have to do is come to this assign to column here, which is by default always there. I did add the depends on and depends after, but we can hide this in a little bit. But if you go to assign to, for example, I can go here to review and finalize plans. I can click on the names, and I'm going to see the people that are part of this project. Right now, I have not created a group just yet, but it's super easy for you to create one. You just have to go right here, and you can add group members, and you can get everyone that's part of your organization. You'll be able to find them over there. Okay, so very simple. And once you have them here, all you have to do is assign resources to the tasks. Okay. If I do decide to assign a resource that's not here, let me go ahead and find, for example, Greg's name. You're going to see Greg right there. Project's going to give me a notification. Do you want to have Greg be able to look at this project? And if I say yes, I can just add Greg to a group. And that's another way that you can start groups. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You don't need to add rates. You don't need to add anything like that, because Project for the Web was not designed for you to track costs. Okay, so that's going to be another thing. This is more for accountability. So I can add Greg to this group. So I'm going to go ahead and add him, and I'm going to create and assign. So now you can see Greg here, and I can start adding other resources from my company as well. So I can type Angelica's name from here. So there it is, Angelica, and then I can do the same thing, assign and add, and then I can start building my resources here. Very simple, very, very easy, much more user-friendly, okay? But remember, this is for accountability. The different views you have in Project for the Web, they are going to be right there, okay, right here. So this is how you'll be able to change the different views you have here. So I'm not gonna focus on board for now, but you do have a board view. I just have not created because this is a waterfall project. But you can have boards, and it's pretty easy to move between different boards. Okay, so it's a very user-friendly tool here. But what I want you to pay attention to is the Gantt chart, because that's going to be the thing we had in Project Desktop and that it's missing here. On the grid view, you can only see the task name, you can see who it was assigned to, you can see the duration. You can definitely add more columns here. So if you want to see, for example, start, you can see start date, and you can add another column that's going to be your finish date. So a lot of the information that you had on Project Desktop is here. Notice that here, there is also something pretty cool. If you have a task that's running late, you're going to see those flags without you needing to create anything. In Project Desktop, you have to create flags for everything that you need to visually see, okay? So this is way more user-friendly. It does have its limitation. We talked already about costs. So let's see. I'm going to go to my timeline. And this is my timeline. I can zoom in and out to be able to see more or less of my timeline, okay? So this is what the zoom feature is going to do. It's going to zoom my timeline, allowing me to see more. I can resize the same way that I would be able to do on Project Desktop. So I can definitely do that as well. And then I can see my resources here as well, and my tasks. You can definitely see your critical path. You just have to go to filters, and you have to turn on the critical path, which when you publish, when you import a file that was created on Project Desktop, it will have its limitations. Project for the Web is still a tool that's being rolled out, okay? So there are some limitations here as well. And notice that you cannot see costs. So you have charts. This is going to be some of the built-in charts or reports that you can use in this view. You can see people, the people that were assigned to the project, me, Angelica, and Greg. And you can see goals. I haven't set anyone yet, but these are the other views you have on here. You don't have costs. You don't have variances. You cannot set baselines. You cannot track your actuals from Project for the Web. Project for the Web was designed for people who want to be able to track a project, have a list of tasks, have a timeline, assign resources to those tasks for accountability, track deadlines, but it wasn't necessarily designed for you to track costs and do everything else that you can do on Project Desktop. It also has a limit of lines. I believe this is going to be only 1,000 rows. You cannot add a project that has more than 1,000 tasks listed on it. So it does have its limitation as well. So this is the new family of project tools. If you're looking for something simple, then you can definitely get started with Project for the Web. And you can access that by going to project.microsoft.com. And if you have an account, you'll be able to see if you have access to it directly from there. In later videos, we can show you how you can download Project Desktop app and how you can get started with the tool. But I wanted to level everything up from here because if you're trying to set baselines and track cost, you already know the Project for the Web is not for you. If you want something simpler, you also already know that you don't have to go through all the learning curve for you to learn how to use Project Desktop when everything that you want is here available to you that easy and simple, okay? So I hope this was helpful, and this is going to help you make an informed decision on which tool you should learn next. And I hope to see you in the next video tutorials that we're gonna be releasing here on our YouTube channel. See you!